TV Center in Santa Clara and the Lenardi's Markets pregame show as the Santa Clara Broncos host the New Mexico State Aggies out of the Western Athletic Conference. For Santa Clara, it's game 2 of a 9-game home stretch spanning the month of December. Good evening. I'm Anthony Passarelli. My partner, former Bronco Henry Caruso, will be along shortly. For the Broncos, a record of 7-2. They've won 4 in a row and coming off a 7-point win on Saturday right here at home over Sac State, thanks to 27 points from newly awarded West Coast Conference Player of the Week, Brandon Pajemski. For the New Mexico State Aggies, 4-2. They've won a pair back-to-back, and they are the defending WAC regular season and tournament champs, but an almost entirely new roster for first-year head coach Craig Heyer, including point guard Xavier Pinson, who started at LSU last season. This is a high-scoring, athletic team who are picked once again to win the WAC this season. The Lenardi's Markets pregame show rolls on. When we come back, we'll have the starters and the tip-off at Santa Clara and New Mexico State. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
DevCon.
You're listening to Santa Clara Broncos basketball on AM 1220 KDOW.
And welcome back. We are inside the Levy Center here at Santa Clara. For Bronco basketball, it's the Broncos taking on New Mexico State out of the Western Athletic Conference. Anthony Passarelli, Henry Caruso here courtside. Let's get you right to the starting lineups on the Lenardi's Markets pregame show. The starters delivered by Scott Seafood and Chowder House, serving only the best, most sustainable seafood. And we'll start with Craig Heyer's New Mexico State Aggies, picked to finish first in the Western Athletic Conference, coming off a year where they won the regular season, won the conference tournament, and upset UConn as the number 12 seed in the first round of the NCAA tournament, or their first game, I should say. This is how they will line up. Xavier Pinson, he's the transfer point guard from LSU. He's a preseason all-WAC player, and he's averaging over 15 points per game so far. DeShondre Washington, 6'7" junior forward from Chicago, one of the junior college transfers from Northwestern Florida State. 13 points, 8 rebounds, and he can shoot it from outside. That's DeShondre Washington. Quaye Gordon, he's a 6'5" junior guard from Chicago. He last played at Missouri and transferred in. Dr. Bradley, that's right, 6'8" sophomore from Los Angeles, last played at Salt Lake Community College. And James Beck, 6'8", a redshirt senior. He last played at Miami. This is a team that virtually turned over their entire roster, only 2 returners, and they are missing 4 players tonight. We'll talk about that after this game gets underway. For Santa Clara, Carlos Stewart, Keyshawn Justice, Brandon Pajemski, Jaden Bediako, and Parker Brown. It's the same lineup Herb Sendick has used for all 9 games, and he will use it again tonight. Sendick 517 wins, 381 career defeats as the Broncos roll out the same lineup. And let's talk to Henry Caruso a little bit. Henry, this is a Aggie team that comes out in their road black uniforms with crimson Aggies across the chest. Broncos wearing their home whites with Santa Clara and Bronco red across the chest. We'll talk about the keys in a second, but this is an important time for Santa Clara, this home stretch the month of December.
Absolutely. Important stretch for the Broncos and a great opponent here in the Aggies. They have a historic program and excited to see the Broncos play tonight.
Broncos win the tip. We are underway. Good to have you with us on a Wednesday night in early December for Broncos and Aggies. Parker Brown at Santa Clara throwing out top. It's Keyshawn Justice. He's defended by Pinson. Keyshawn left to the lane. Bounce pass left sideline to Brandon. Down low to JB. Bediako triple teamed. Out it comes to Carlos Stewart. Keyshawn Justice pump fake. He'll rise from 15. Straight on miss. And it's knocked out of bounds. Last touched by the Aggies. And I believe it was DeShondre Washington, who last year at Northwestern Florida State College, they won the JUCO national title under Craig Heyer, the Aggies' first-year head coach. Pajimski, Carlos Stewart, far corner. 3-ball is up, and 3-ball is good. Los has Santa Clara up 3-0.
Great job there for the Broncos. We've seen the double team in the post a lot this season, and the kick out, finding the opening shooter. Stewart knocking it down. Carlos
Stewart coming off a 22-point game, career high, last time out against Sac State. Baseline drive cut off by Brown. Out it goes to not Dr. Bradley. It's James Beck, the redshirt senior, for 3, and we are even. And now Santa Clara turning it over as Pinson working against Carlos Stewart. Loses the handle on it. Pajimski on the deck, and he has it back for Santa Clara as we are all knotted at 3 apiece. Minute 15 gone by. Pajimski bouncing to Parker Brown, and he goes in. Parker Brown can throw it down, and it's 5-3 Santa Clara.
Great two-man action. Pajemski to Brown, sending it up on the pick and roll, and Parker sending it home strong.
Parker Brown averaging 8 points, 6.2 rebounds, and shooting it at 55% from the floor. It's Washington between the legs with the dribble, working against Keyshawn. Pull up 3 in the air, banks it in, and DeShondre Washington throws both hands in the air as if to say, hey, sometimes that happens. And away from the ball, a foul on Jaden Bediako. Bediako picks up his first. The Aggies lead it 6-5 on the 3-ball from DeShondre Washington. He is now 7 for 13 on the year from behind the arc, and not a bad dunk for Parker Brown. Maybe I got a little too excited this early in the game.
No, he set the tone strong with that one, AP. Going up high and sending it home.
Walking the dribble past midcourt, it's Xavier Pinson. Last year at LSU, 10 points per contest. He was a starter for the Tigers. Comes around his screen, takes the handoff to the right elbow. Carlos Stewart and Jaden Bediako double him. Cross-court pass. Dr. Bradley wide open on the wing, driving to the basket, flips it underhand off the glass. And that's an athletic move from Dr. Bradley to make it 8-5 Aggies. Down low to JB. JB backing in, and what do we have here? A 3-second call, potentially. A travel. Jaden Bediako. So you already tell what New Mexico State is doing and Craig Heyer and his staff are doing. They're going to really defend the perimeter, leave the option open to go down into JB and try and make things difficult for him down there. A turnover and then another one right there.
Absolutely. Broncos are going to be able to defend pressure. If they're able to combat that, it'll be a good night.
Pinson to Beck top side. Now the handoff to Washington. Just banked in a 3 moments ago. It's an 8-5 lead for the Aggies. Pull-up jumper, right baseline is missed. And that comes off the hands of Quaye Gordon, who misses the shot. Broncos have the rebound. 3 minutes gone by here in the first half. Pajimski, a pass intended for Brandon. And Brandon had it knocked away. He tried to pick it up on the far sideline and was standing out of bounds. And Santa Clara turns it over again. That's the third of the game.
More pressure from the Aggies, denying the passing lanes. Broncos need to do a good job getting open and coming to meet the pass.
And we could talk about our keys to the game now, brought to you by University Credit Union. Broncos bank with their brain with University Credit Union. That is one of the keys.
Absolutely, and transition defense and dribble penetration, two things that we've seen the Aggies do really well. Santa Clara needs to limit those if it's going to be a good night, and then also continuing to dominate the glass.
Pinson in the corner. Bradley, an open look from three. That one hit the back iron, the side iron, and Jaden Bediako clears it for the Broncos. Back the other way. Crossing midcourt. Keyshawn Justice, transition triple. You betcha!
Great cross the street pass from Pajemski. Keyshawn winding up knocking it down with confidence.
Keyshawn has his first triple of the game. We're square at 8. 3:45 gone by as DeShondre Washington dribbles into the paint. Came to a jump stop, nearly traveled. Quick touch from Pinson. Left side. This is low block left. Beck going against Bediako. Leaning in, and it traveled. Jaden Bediako was not going to give ground, and I think Jaden may have looked down at Beck and either scowled at him or whispered something. But either way, it's Santa Clara basketball on a good defensive possession for Santa Clara.
Absolutely. JB doesn't make that play as a freshman, and you can see his development just coming to fruition right now. And, man, what a great season he's been off to so far.
Carlos Stewart uses the Parker Brown screen. On the switch, he's defended by Dr. Bradley. Now it's Pajemski down the lane. Left-handed floater, misses off the front iron. Gets his own rebound. At to Keyshawn. This is Pajemski. Free throw line. Bounce to Key. Key holding. Good recovery by the Aggies, and an entry pass intended for Parker Brown, who had vacated the low block, is intercepted by Pinson. Broncos double him. DeShondre Washington, left sideline. Bradley going in, throwing to the corner, but he was fouled in the process. And it might be JB's second foul. It is. Bediako picks up his second. That's going to take us to our first media timeout. The under 16 comes at 15:26. And we'll be back out to the Levy Center with the score. The Broncos 8, the Aggies 8. This is Santa Clara basketball from Van Wagner. Welcome back inside the Levy Center. If you're watching on the WCC network, we feel obligated to let you know that you're hearing the Santa Clara home radio broadcast presented to you over the WCC network. If you're listening on AM 1220 KDOW or on the Broncos TuneIn Radio Premium channel, thanks for joining us as Santa Clara and New Mexico State are all tied at 8. And it's New Mexico State basketball. DeShondre Washington throwing all the way out top from underneath the basket to near midcourt, where it's picked up by Pinson. Pinson into the paint. His floater is good over Jacob Holt, who had just checked in, and Xavier Pinson, the preseason All-Western Athletic Conference selection, has the Aggies up 10-8. Holt, Keyshawn Justice will fire from 3. Got another one. And Keyshawn back into form after a slow start to the season. He has back-to-back threes on his last 2 shots, and Santa Clara now leads it 11-10.
Fire knocks it down.
3 ball from Washington at the other end of the floor. And this is an Aggie side that will not back down from anything. Carlos Stewart driving to the basket. Scoop shot, no. Got in deep. The ball is loose underneath. On an athletic move by Carlos Stewart to the basket, but could not finish. And the Aggies still with a 13-11 lead. Pinson, right side of the floor, Bradley. As we mentioned, Holt into the game. Long three in the air. That one is missed. Parker Brown, high for the rebound. Rips it away from Shakuru Odunewu, who had just checked into the game. The 6'10 sophomore transfer from Universal Academy. Opening minutes here in the first half. Odunewu watching as Keyshawn Justice misses a three. The tipped rebound comes down to Pinson. So that was a heat check there for Keyshawn. Santa Clara still trailing by 2, and we're 6:07 into this opening half. Gordon, right-sided air ball from 3 as Bradley took the pass from Gordon and missed the shot. Now at the other end, Carlos Stewart to Pajemski. Washington defending him on the far sideline. Over the defense, there's a pass to Key. Key throwing out top to Holt. Pump fake from 3. Holt trying to get in deep. Backing in against Odunewu, and his jump hook from 5 is good.
Really good patience right there from Jacob Holt. Waits till the defender clears out, able to use a spin move to get to his right-hand jump hook and puts it in for the Broncos.
And Jacob Holt has the Broncos all even with New Mexico State at 13 apiece. After a miss by the Aggies, Carlos Stewart goes right by Pinson and lays it in at the other end.
That's the type of explosive plays we've been seeing all season from Carlos Stewart. Getting the steal, rebound, and taking it coast to coast.
You and I both have been looking forward to this game, knowing how good the Aggies are, how athletic they are, even with a nearly entirely new roster. Only 2 returning players as Pinson, now double-teamed beyond the arc, keeps the dribble going. Now trying to lob backdoor for Odunewu, and it's intercepted by Parker Brown. Here come the Broncos. Carlos Stewart ahead to Jacob Holt. Getting in deep, throwing to Keyshawn. Pajemski, pump fake from 3, throws to Key after the drive. One extra pass to Stewart. His 3 ball is missed. Parker Brown the rebound, and he's hammered on the arm as the Broncos crashing the offensive glass.
Great offensive possession right there for the Broncos. Knowing the aggressive defense from the Aggies are coming, utilizing shot fakes, getting in the paint, making the extra pass. And, of course, a great rebound there by Parker Brown to keep the possession alive.
Herb Sendick will go to the bench again now, is heading to the bench. Our Keyshawn Justice and Carlos Stewart checking in for Santa Clara, the freshman Kozi Akametu and the redshirt freshman Brenton Napper. Napper looking, and it comes to Pajemski. He's got Kwaye Gordon on him. Into the corner, this is Napper now. Our first look at Kyle Fight, who has checked into the game. Napper between the legs with the dribble. Pajemski catch and shoot, triple. Oh, it spins out. And Brandon thought that one was going down. I would agree with him, but it came all the way out. Pinson now to Washington. And very quickly, New Mexico State getting into their sets. Washington defended by Parker Brown. Looking to penetrate, falling down, throws it to Gordon. Kwaye with some fancy dribbling on the perimeter, and a pass into traffic is knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Kozi Akametu, and it will be Aggie basketball. I got to pace myself here. I got to keep the voice for the rest of this game. Santa Clara leading this one 15-13 with 11:52 remaining here in the first half, and we have a timeout on the floor. We'll be back to the Levy Center after this. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Broncos leading at 15-13 in what has been an up and back game for both of these sides. The Aggies come in averaging over 80 points per contest. And Santa Clara right at 75. Anthony Passarelli, Henry Caruso. What have you seen so far? What do you like so far? What do you don't like so far?
Absolutely. It's been a lot of up and down. And listening to Coach Sendek earlier this week, he said that New Mexico State has been scoring the ball at an elite level in a multitude of ways. So far, we've seen that hitting from outside, getting to the basket. So Broncos need to continue that lockdown defense that's been happening all year.
Front court for the Aggies. Pinson with the dribble, pulling it back out to midcourt, defended by Holt. Santa Clara trying to double, and now a pull-up for Gordon is too late. Kwaye Gordon caught the pass with 1 on the timer, and that's a situation where a team comes out of the huddle after a timeout and doesn't think about how much time is left on the clock. And there are a multitude of players and coaches on the bench that are responsible for that. But nevertheless, it's a turnover, the 4th of the game for the Aggies. And it's Bronco basketball up 2 with 11:34 and the clock rolling here in the first half. Brenton Napper defended by Pinson. Entry pass intended for Holt, knocked away. A quick touch from Fight, and now it's Pinson right up the center of the floor. Stops at 30 feet, throws to Washington. Washington dribbling to the right elbow. A cross-court pass to Pinson. He misses the 3, and it's caught out of the air. The rebound is by Napper. Napper accelerating. His floater is missed, and Brenton Napper left that a little bit short, and the Broncos back the other way as New Mexico State has the rebound and the possession here with 9 minutes gone by here in the first half. The Broncos in a scoring drought of just over 2 minutes. The Aggies almost 4 minutes. There's a 3-ball from Washington is missed, and the rebound tipped by Pajimski, taken by Akametu. Akametu up the sideline, looking down low. Instead, it's Pajimski down the lane. A left-handed push shot is good, and he releases it so quickly, gets it so high, it's almost impossible to defend.
Absolutely. When he gets to that spot on the floor and floats it up with the left, you might as well put 2 on the board and count it.
That's his first basket of the game. Pajimski, who leads the Broncos in scoring at 20 points a night. Now a floater is blocked. And a quick rebound. This is Parker Brown to Cozy Akametu, and Cozy goes right to the basket and runs right over Kyle Fight. Offensive foul, and the ball will go over to the Aggies.
Good aggressive push there by Cozy. Just maybe could have taken one less dribble, set it up a little bit, but love to see the freshman come in making an aggressive play, trying to help his team.
Cozy and Brenton Napper will come out of the game now as Carlos Stewart and Keyshawn Justice are back in. Dr. Bradley, Xavier Pinson, Kwaye Gordon, Deshandre Washington, and James Beck into the game. Actually, Fight is into the game as Pinson, using the Beck screen out top, stops, throws to Fight. An excellent outside shooter. Fight dribbles over toward Pinson and hands it off. Now Washington penetrates, throws out to Dr. Bradley. 10 on the timer. Washington, this is Beck. Beck looking to go baseline. Beck stopped to the corner, now throws it out with 3 on the timer. The shot put up and the shot missed. Fight chases it down in the corner, and it's in the direction of Pinson at midcourt. Jumping in front to deflect it out of bounds is Beck. And that possession can only be described as a scramble.
Fortunate play for the Broncos.
Yeah, very fortunate. Broncos have scored the last 6 points. Parker Brown will inbound in the front court right sideline, finding Carlos Stewart. Now the clock running at 9:40 left in the first half, and the Broncos lead by 4. Backdoor cut. Pajemski tries to lay it in and misses the layup. The pass was there, but the finish was not. And now Gordon looking to go baseline. Instead, spinning against Brown, has his shot blocked, gets his own rebound. Beck is open for 3. He'll fire and miss. Keyshawn Justice the rebound. And the Broncos race to the other end of the floor. Pajimski spots for 3. He'll miss. There's another rebound for Gordon. And these two teams not shy about getting the shots up quickly early in the possession.
Up and down we go. Both these teams really want to push in transition.
Pinson bouncing baseline to Beck. Beck leaning in, and his shot is blocked. Offensive foul as Beck caught the ball, looked for Jacob Holt, took a power dribble, looked again for Jacob Holt, lowered his shoulder, and picked up the offensive foul.
Good job by Jacob Holt there, standing his ground, able to draw the offensive foul.
Washington and Odunewu are in. Pinson leaves. Odunewu, Dr. Bradley, fight. Kwaye Gordon, all in the game for head coach Craig Heyer. Keyshawn Justice picked up by Bradley. This is Christoph Tilley trying to throw back out and got in trouble. And there's a foul as his pass out from Tilley, the 7-foot freshman, was intercepted. And then immediately a foul. And Christoph, I think, committed the golden rule. He really didn't have a plan until he got into the paint and realized he had nowhere else to go, and then tried to throw it back behind him. And, you know, teams like the Aggies, New Mexico State, as good as they are, they're looking for that back pass to intercept and try and get a break.
Absolutely. As Christoph continues to grow, that'll be a 2-foot jump stop in the lane and able to get to a strong finish. It's just a matter of time for him.
Carlos Stewart's first foul. Broncos still leading at 17-13. As Gordon now to Washington. Pinson on the bench. Gordon working against Pajimski. Rises from 3. Fires and rolls it home. Gordon picks up the triple. And it is a 17-16 Bronco lead. Carlos Stewart to Holt. Holt up against Odunewu. Throws back out to Stewart. Ball fake. Back to Holt. Holt fumbles it, and Holt's double teamed. It's knocked out of bounds by Fight, who came over to help. And it'll be Bronco basketball with 12 to shoot. Kozi Akametu in for Brandon Pajimski. As Herb Sendick trying to fit the right lineup in to give Santa Clara the best flow. It hasn't been there yet, as Pinson now checking in for Gordon.
Absolutely. And just in terms of offense, we see the bigs for Santa Clara. They're getting double teamed by the Aggies every single time. They need to control the rock and make the extra pass.
Carlos Stewart open for 3. He launches, and he gets it. Carlos Stewart has 8 to pace Santa Clara, and the Broncos answer a 3 with a 3, 20-16. SCU with an even 8 to play in the first half. DeShondre Washington to Pinson on the right side. Broncos look like they're in a bit of a zone here, really trying to shrink the floor. Pinson penetrates, throws to Fight in the corner, and Kyle Fight, the junior guard who last played at Indian River State College, connects on the 3, and it's 20-19 Santa Clara. Keyshawn Justice now, a little bit of a shimmy shake, throwing it to Akametu outside the arc. It's poked away by Pinson, run down near midcourt by Holt. 7.5 to play first half. Stewart rises, he'll fire, and he gets another one.
Great patience, rise and fire elevation. Carlos Stewart getting to his spot and knocking it down.
It was a 3-pointer to make it 23-19, and Stewart now with 11 points. Pinson penetrates, his floater is good. And Xavier Pinson, 3 seasons at Mizzou, last year at LSU, has 4 points. There's another 3, this time left sideline from Akametu. It rattles out, and now the Aggies can take the lead here with a 3 or tie it. They're down 23-21 with 6:50 to play. Broncos get in their defensive set. Carlos Stewart defending Pinson. Now a pass to Fight. He caught it, nearly traveled. Reverse dribble on the right sideline in front of the Bronco bench. 7 on the timer. Pinson tries to split the 2 defenders, does so, and it's a foul on Carlos Stewart, who has just picked up his 2nd foul. So the foul on Los, his 2nd. Jaden Bediako has 2. And now Herb Sendick with some substitutions to make as we're taken to immediate timeout. 6:36 to go, first half. Broncos 23, Aggies 21. Santa Clara Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. back inside the Levy Center. 23-21 Santa Clara. 6:36 to play. Anthony Passarelli with you. Henry Caruso, the former Bronco, here with you as well. As the Broncos led by 11 from Carlos Stewart. But Henry, he just went to the bench with his second foul and 6.5 to play. So we'll see with Brenton Napper back in the game for Herb Sendick. We'll see how the Broncos respond here as a chance to tie or take the lead for the Aggies. Fight into the low left block. This is Beck backing in, and what happened here as the foul has been called? Is it Parker Brown?
Yep, you're right. They're going to get Parker.
Parker Brown picks up the foul. Beck kept backing down, and contact seemed to have been initiated by the New Mexico State Aggie, but the call was Jimmy Cassis, and a veteran official doesn't miss many calls. So the foul on Santa Clara for the Broncos, that is their 6th team foul. Dr. Bradley on the left side of the floor. This is into the hands of Washington now, trying to penetrate. Throws a wild shot up on his way to the baseline. Good defensive work there by Santa Clara. The shot is no good, and Santa Clara has the basketball after the rebound. Jacob Holt trying to get in deep, backing into the basket. It looked like he might have been fouled, but he fumbled it, and now here come the Aggies driving. Going to the rim, Dr. Bradley.
That's what the Aggies want to do, get stops and get out in transition, and we see that right there, AP.
We're all square at 23 on the basket from Dr. Bradley. Keyshawn Justice with Holt. Holt holding now. Pajimski, who's back into the game. There's a left-handed push shot. He gets that one to go down from the free throw line. And Brandon Pajimski has so much in his arsenal. That's a play, I think, that surprises many opposing teams as Santa Clara leads 25-23. Beck trying to get in deep, has his shot blocked by Parker Brown, and it's run down in the corner by Dr. Bradley. 13-12 on the timer, going baseline, getting in deep, and another foul on Santa Clara. This time it's Parker Brown, who has just picked up his second foul. And with the Broncos leading by 2, they've got a bit of a foul situation as Stewart, Bediako, and Brown all with 2 fouls at 5:09 to play here in the first half.
Absolutely. It's decision time for Coach Sendick, and unfortunate right there for Parker. He made a great block on the initial and just was out of position on the second follow-up.
So at the basket, Dr. Bradley misses the first free throw. Bradley, a sophomore who spent some time at Cal State Fullerton and last year at Salt Lake Community College, where he averaged 13 and 4 over 37 games. Came in averaging 80% from the line on 12 of 15, and he misses them both. So Broncos with the ball and the lead by 2. Bradley picks up Pajemski as he crosses midcourt and angles the dribble to the left sideline. Pajemski looking, now finds Brenton Napper, and Bradley jumps in front of Napper and commits the foul. And 7 fouls for Santa Clara, 3 for New Mexico State. You might see that number start to even out a little bit as Bradley picks up what I believe is his second foul. Nevertheless, Bronco basketball. Pinson back on for Craig Heyer. Napper dribbling out near midcourt. Defended by Pinson. Pajimski around a screen. He's got Gordon on him. Now a baseline drive. He's cut off. We're in a lot of trouble here. Throwing to Brenton Napper. Napper pull up 15-footer. High arcing shot and rattles it home.
Good job there by Brenton Napper. Able to take his time, use his shot fake, get in the paint, and knock down the 15-footer.
27-23 as the redshirt freshman has the Broncos up by 4. Gordon into traffic. Throws right side to Washington. Reverse dribble at the right elbow. Pull up, right-handed push shot over Parker Brown is good by DeShondre Washington.
Those are the shots that Coach Sendick likes and will able to give up. I mean, those are called tough twos, and an unfortunate break here for the Broncos.
Yeah, Washington just ripped it right out of the hands of, I don't remember which Bronco was down there, but at the other end of the floor, Quaye Gordon lays it in. Back-to-back buckets for the Aggies, and we're square at 27. And they could show you how quickly they could turn it around. Cameron Tongue in for the Broncos. He's a sophomore. Keyshawn back out to Pajemski. Now Keyshawn driving up with the left hand, lays it in. Keyshawn said, enough of this trying to look for space on the outside. I'll take it right inside, and the Broncos lead by 2.
Great job by Keyshawn. We've seen him knock 2 triples down tonight, and now he knows the defense is pressuring him, able to get in the lane and finish with his left hand.
The Broncos shooting at a high rate here as Washington drives to the basket, and Parker Brown blocks his shot to the sideline. It's saved by Cameron Tongue to Napper. Now Pajemski, there comes Cameron Tongue, filling the lane, the dish, the dunk, and Cameron Tongue has the Broncos up by 4. Timeout Aggies.
Cameron Tongue making the defensive play, able to save it, and finishes off with a great slam dunk, and the Broncos are roaring here up by 4.
We have a timeout, and we will go ahead and keep it here as the Broncos leading at 31-27, 11 from Carlos Stewart, 8 from Keyshawn Justice, as the Broncos shooting 54% here in the first half. Meanwhile, for New Mexico State, 8 points for DeShondre Washington to lead the way. They're shooting 44% from the floor. And we have an exciting first half as the Broncos have made their last 4 shots. Let's talk about this month of December, Henry, as the Broncos playing their second of 9 straight games here on the home floor. Coming up with a rivalry game on Saturday at 2 o'clock against San Jose State. Then it's Portland State on the 13th, Irvine on the 15th. The Cal Bears come to town Sunday the 18th at 2 o'clock. And then Boise State on the 22nd before Christmas to wrap up the non-conference schedule. And then you get right into it. West Coast Conference play with USF on December 29th. And then St. Mary's on New Year's Eve at 4 o'clock. First of all, I look at these games and I think 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 2 days in between. Is that a problem?
I think it's a great opportunity for these Broncos, an opportunity to defend home court and also continue to grow. I mean, we've seen so far this year, Broncos have done a great job playing at Levy, taking pride in winning and defending our home court, and that's going to be a big thing coming in because we have some noteworthy opponents coming to the Levy Center, and it's an exciting time for these players, but also a great opportunity for these Santa Clara fans to come out and support the Broncos.
Have you done all your Christmas shopping yet?
I have not, but I could use some stocking stuffers.
Perfect. You knew where I was going with this. If you'd like to either buy tickets for yourself to come to a game or shove them into a stocking of a loved one on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve, depending on your traditions, you're in luck. The number to call is 408-554-4660. You can go online at SantaClaraBroncos.com and look for tickets. And we would love to see you out here. Henry and I will be here, and we hope you will be as well. If for some crazy reason you cannot be here, let's say your family lives in another state and you're going to visit them because after college you moved away from home.
I did.
Hypothetical. Then please join us on the WCC Network. For those of you watching tonight, thank you very much. You're hearing the Santa Clara Bronco radio broadcast tonight and on these WCC Network games. And that is on AM 1220 KDOW and also on the Santa Clara Broncos TuneIn Premium channel. So if you can't make it, we invite you to join us from wherever you might be. Both teams back out on the floor. I should note our officials for tonight: Ronald Brokenborough, veteran; Jimmy Cassis, veteran; Amy Bonner, veteran. Well, they're changing a foul. I'm trying to listen to Matt Hurwitz, our public address announcer, giving us the situation on the fouls. Dr. Bradley, we have him now as 3 fouls. Well, now it's been changed to 2, and James Beck has been given a foul. So 2 fouls for Bradley, 1 for Beck, and it's Pinson to the free throw line, jump pass into the corner, Quaye Gordon for 3, and he rolls it home.
Yeah, Pinson able to get downhill, get into that lane, and find a spot-up shooter. 1-point game here.
6th three-pointer of the game for the Aggies. It's Cameron Tongue getting some valuable minutes here. Driving into the lane, tries to throw it off the glass, can't get it down, and it's knocked out of bounds, last touched by Beck. And Cameron Tongue looking at the officials saying, I might have had my arm pulled a little bit. Nevertheless, Bronco basketball, only 2:36 left to go here in the first half. And it comes to Pajimski, who cuts right to the rim and lays it in off the inbounds dish from Brenton Napper. And it's back to a 3-point lead for the Broncos at 33-30.
Really good play there by Napper and Pajimski. They made eye contact right before the ball was inbounded and caught, and Aggies sleeping. Easy 2 for the Broncos.
Napper picking up Pinson. Pinson to the right elbow. Flips a pass into the left wing corner. This is Quaye Gordon. Reverse spin dribble. Misses the shot, leaves it short. And Cameron Tongue has the rebound and throws to Brenton Napper, who crosses midcourt. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Down low it goes into Holt. Holt leaning in, pushes the shot up. He was grabbed on the arm, but no foul call there as Herb Sendick was screaming for a foul. And now it's a Bronco 3-point lead with $1:50 to play. And it's Pinson driving, Pinson throwing out top. Fight open for 3, and he knocks it down.
It's starting with Pinson. When he's able to get downhill, get in the lane, that's been problematic for the Broncos and able to create confidence for these New Mexico State Aggies, who have now hit 7 threes.
Fight has 2 of them. We're even at 33. Bronco basketball. And Keyshawn Justice open on the right wing. Keyshawn downhill to the free throw line, cut off by Fight, feeding the low block. This is Jacob Holt, who is hammered down on the low block. The foul will be on Gordon. That is his first and the 4th team foul. One of the things you pointed out when we were looking at the courtside stats monitor is the Broncos have not been to the line yet. And they won't go here because he was not in the act of shooting, but they need to be more aggressive going to the rim. And now you'll start to see these fouls even up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Beck is called for a hold before the ball even got inbounds. 5th team foul. No time goes off the clock. 20 to shoot. 1:18 to play in the half. We invite you to stick around for the University Credit Union halftime show, where we'll have a player interview to pass along. We won't tell you who yet, but we will, as well as a recap of the first half and first half statistics coming up at halftime. Brenton Napper to inbound baseline right, tried to throw it into Cameron Tongue, but it never reached him. Back the other way, the Aggies. Pinson's three-pointer is left short, and it's thrown out of bounds as Pinson tried to save it over the baseline and then whipped that right into the first row of VIP seats here, courtside at the Levy Center. Bronco ball. Parker Brown in for Cameron Tongue for these final 71 seconds. So it's Tongue, Holt, Pajimski, Brown, Napper, and Keyshawn Justice. Napper into the hands of Pajimski. Gordon out to defend him. Jump pass to Key. Key pump fake. Throws it to the left sideline in the corner. Now back out top to Parker Brown. NBA 3 from Keyshawn Justice is missed. High for the rebound to Chandre Washington. And inside of a minute to play, 45 seconds left in this opening half, and we are tied at 33. Fight, a catch on the wing. Pinson playing catch with his wings. Now throws right side to Fight. Justice defending Pinson. 12 on the timer. Between the legs with the dribble. Crossover dribble. Kick to the corner. 3 ball in the air for Washington, and it is good. Washington now into double figures. 36-33 New Mexico State. And the Broncos will play for the final shot. Shot clock off. 15 left to go in the half. Napper out near midcourt. Bounce pass onto the right sideline. And the Broncos throw it away. The ball was tipped, but not possessed. And it goes out of bounds over to the Aggies with 7.5 seconds left. New Mexico State has scored the last 6, and Cameron Tongue is back in for Santa Clara. Parker Brown to the bench. Washington will inbound, throws to Pinson. Pinson out near midcourt with 5, with 4. Pinson between the legs, blows by Napper, throws one into the corner, and the jumper is no good in the corner from Quaye Gordon. And the final 6 points of the half scored by the New Mexico State Aggies to lead at 36-33. Henry, what happened over those final 2 minutes?
Pressure from the Aggies, making the Broncos uncomfortable. Broncos weren't able to get into the rhythm and flow on offense. And then on the defensive end, Aggies were able to get downhill, starting with Pinson, creating for shooters, and New Mexico State, who typically likes to get in the lane and finish at the rim, they're able to knock down threes tonight, and that's been a problem so far for the Broncos.
We'll see if Herb Sendek and his staff can right the wrongs from the first half. It's only a 3-point deficit. New Mexico State leads at 36-33. The University Credit Union halftime show is coming up. When we come back, a Santa Clara Broncos student-athlete interview from this year's basketball team. Once again, halftime here at the Levy Center. Aggies 36, Santa Clara 33. This is Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Welcome to the Bronco Halftime Show. Anthony Passarelli with Broncos senior forward Jaden Bediako. And Jaden, thanks for joining us. And I wanted to ask you, because this year is a big opportunity for you as a senior. This being, your fourth year and getting a chance to go into the season to really compete for a starting spot. How did you prepare for that in the offseason?
Well, during the offseason, I was in a boot, so I was still coming off my plantar fascia tear. But how I prepared for it was, I knew the opportunity was there. I had the mindset going, it's there, but it's not going to be handed to me, though. So I went back home. I worked out a lot, really. Came back in the summer. We played a lot with the guys. The 4-2 was a great experience to have and to showcase my ability. And now we're here. And, I wouldn't say my spot's permanent, though, but, I worked for it, and I'm deserving of it, too. But other guys are working hard, and they're also deserving, too. It's going from being the hunter to the hunted now. So.
Let's talk a little bit about that European tour. I've had a chance to talk to some of your teammates about it. What did you enjoy about the tour to play games and get a chance to see Spain and France?
Okay, on to the second one. I already been to Europe. Shout out the FIBA Under-17 World Championship. That was in Zaragoza, Spain. I've been to Greece before I came here for my freshman year for the Under-19s. So because of Canada basketball, I've been around Europe a lot and South America. So, but some of the places we went in Spain, where I haven't been to Madrid and Barcelona, it was just good. I think it was just a good trip to gel with the guys, figure each other out, though, and play some good competition, especially Paris basketball. Shout out to them. They're a really good team. And I just had a great time just knowing everyone. The beach in Barcelona, though, if you have a chance to watch that, please go watch the clips we have of that, though. That was probably the best experience we had. It was pretty wild. Not gonna lie, some guys got dumped in the water, a.k.a. me. But, hey.
One final question for you. How good can this team be this year?
However good this team wants to be, how we put the work in, how hard we compete and stuff. There's been some games where, it kind of looks like we're out of sync or we're not competing hard enough. And it's kind of like the case last year. We can be really good. We can beat anyone in the country, but we can also be beaten, too. Looking at last year and watching some of the tournament games from even last year, I'm we were, this close a little bit. Maybe 1-2 losses we get rid of, though. We're in the we're on Selection Sunday. It's really hard to get to the tournament though. But the coach have been doing a great job showing us like quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4 games, putting a tough schedule for us though. And now we have this homestand. We have a chance to pick up some quad 1, quad 2s. Rival conferences, Pac-12, Mountain West, and then we go straight into conference, which is going to be tough. Everyone's good. No one stays the same. Everyone either gets better or worse. So the ceiling's, how do you say this? There's no limit to the ceiling. It's just how good are we going to compete, how hard are we going to fight for it, and how bad do we want it. That's how good that team can be.
Always good to talk to Broncos senior forward Jaden Bediako on the halftime show. Jaden, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back with more right after this.
And Henry Caruso. It is halftime, and the Broncos trailed the Aggies of New Mexico State 36-33 as the Aggies scored the final 6 points of the first half en route to a 3-point halftime advantage. And it was a first half that was pretty tightly contested all the way through. The largest lead for the Broncos was 4 at 31-27, and this is the largest lead for New Mexico State. And if you're just joining us, New Mexico State is playing without 4 players. Suspensions related to an ongoing investigation to a November shooting incident involving students at the University of Mexico and Aggie forward Mike Peak. Peak was shot, had been hospitalized, and is doing better, but he has been suspended indefinitely. And 3 other players, Marcellus Avery, Anthony Roy, and Issa Muhammad, are not available tonight. So this is a New Mexico State team that is undermanned, but as we saw in the first half with 3-pointers by Kwaye Gordon, which the Broncos countered by a jump shot from Brenton Napper to keep the Broncos in front. A late flurry was the difference, and it's 36-33 for New Mexico State. Let's take a look at the numbers now as our first half stats are brought to you by Henry and I. That's who. Broncos shot 50% from the floor, 14 of 28, held the Aggies to 45% shooting. Broncos 5 of 11 from 3, 8 first-half three-pointers for New Mexico State, including 3 for DeShondre Washington. 0 for 2 from the line for the Aggies. Broncos did not attempt a free throw. Santa Clara out-rebounded New Mexico State 19-12, but the turnovers, 11 for Santa Clara. This is a team that averages 13 turnovers a game and only 5 for New Mexico State. 11 points for DeShondre Washington to lead the way, 8 for Kwaye Gordon, and 6 points off the bench on 3-pointers from Kyle Feit. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, 11 points for Carlos Stewart. He had foul trouble, only played 11 minutes. 8 for Keyshawn Justice, including a couple of threes. 6 for Brandon Pajimski, and then 2 each for Brown, Napper, Holt, and Tongue. And so we will take a look at some scores now for those of you on the radio. And we'll give a quick break for those watching on the WCC network, and we'll be back shortly for those of you watching on the video stream. Back inside the Levy Center. All right, Henry. Broncos trailing by 3. They had a tough close to the half. They've turned it over 11 times in the first half. What does Santa Clara need to do right out of the gate here to get back on track?
Really just pick up the intensity, too. I mean, it starts, obviously, on offense, being able to handle the pressure from the Aggies and getting quality looks. We were talking before the game that scoring 70 points has been the magic number for Santa Clara, really dating back to last season. If you look at that record, the Broncos, when they hit that 70-point mark, they have a record of 27-5 overall. So we're a little bit behind pace right now, but I think that ultimately when we get good shots by handling pressure, controlling tempo, it can amount to something positive and good for the Broncos here in the second half.
And the nuance to that 70 points is to get there first.
Absolutely.
Now, if the other team gets there before you and gets there a lot before you, it's really tough to recover. But Santa Clara shot the ball well in the first half. They rebounded well in the first half. They just didn't hold on to the basketball very well in the first half, and that's something that head coach Herb Sendick obviously wants to take care of here in half number 2. Broncos out on the floor, once again wearing the home whites. This is the second of 9 straight home games after a non-conference, early part of the non-conference schedule that had the Broncos in Logan, Utah, then to the Bahamas, then to Las Vegas to take on Iona at a neutral site game, then to Salt Lake Community College on a midweek matinee to take on Wyoming, a game that went overtime before the Broncos could seal the victory. And now they get the luxury of playing at home, but it's only a luxury if you win these games.
Absolutely, AP. An opportunity to defend home court. Let's go, baby. 5
lead changes, 6 ties in the first half, and we are underway here in half number 2. Good to have you with us on the WCC network, the video stream, coupled with our audio stream from AM 1220 KDOW and the Broncos TuneIn Premium channel. An air steal at midcourt. Pajimski goes sliding but can't pick it up. Kwaye Gordon looking to penetrate, has his shot blocked underneath. It's loose on the floor, 7 on the timer, 6. It's Dr. Bradley right at Parker Brown who blocks it. 2-on-1 the other way. Pajimski lobbing it, caught and laid in by Carlos Stewart, and that's how Santa Clara wants to start the second half as they trail on the bucket by Carlos Stewart, 36-35. This is Pinson. 4 points, 5 assists in the first half. Broncos did a pretty good job on him. Kwaye Gordon picking his way to his spot on the right side. Misses the shot. Ball tipped and loose and picked up on the rebound. And a foul is called on Santa Clara as Kwaye Gordon ended up with that basketball. And Carlos Stewart has just picked up his 3rd foul. And we're only 56 seconds into the second half. And it's Aggie basketball to inbound on the far sideline.
Bad break there for Carlos.
Broncos had more than a few opportunities, and now a high shot by Pinson, high off the glass but missed. Now Carlos Stewart accelerating to the basket, and that cannot be an offensive foul, but it is. Unbelievable. Carlos Stewart has just picked up his 4th foul. The Broncos starting point guard lasts a minute and 6 seconds before going to the bench with his 4th foul. And now Herb Sendick, and I've marveled at this in the 7 years Herb has been here with Santa Clara because I've had a chance to see it firsthand. His ability to manage foul trouble is second to almost anyone.
No, he's a
second to none, I meant.
He's a professional, AP. He really is.
DeShondre Washington working against Pajimski, left to the lane. Throws to Gordon. He'll catch and shoot a 3. Missed the shot. Bediako the rebound. Here comes Brenton Napper to midcourt. Head up. This is Pajimski. Pump fake from 3. Picked up by Washington. A spindly defender. And now a pass out to Keyshawn Justice. 90 seconds into the second half. Broncos can take the lead as Key fires a 3 and rolls it in.
Great job by Key. Good two-man game with Jaden. Able to stop behind the screen and knock it down. Good job by Keyshawn making that read.
And Brent Napper initiated all of that as Pinson picks up the dribble, throws it back out to Gordon. Now on the right side, this is Washington. Broncos lead by 2. There's a jumper from Pinson, and it is an air ball. And after one bounce, it goes out of bounds to the Broncos.
Absolutely. Those are the shots the Broncos want the Aggies to take. Contested long 3s.
Here in the second half, the Aggies 0 for 6 to start. Santa Clara 2 for 2. As we said, the Broncos shooting very well. Left to the lane, Parker Brown wanting to back down the defender. Throws it to Pajimski. Rotated, right sideline corner, and the 3 is no good, but picked up by Bediako. Bediako 2 dribbles, loses the handle, and it goes out of bounds to Santa Clara as Bediako broke the golden rule of big men on the baseline. Never bring the ball down where the little guys, the guys like me, can reach in and knock it away. Bronco basketball, 17 to shoot. Parker Brown against Washington. Parker Brown double teamed, picked up from behind by Beck, and there's a pass intercepted. Pajimski wanting to go right to the basket, high off the window, score it, and he's fouled. Pajimski, the steal, the score, and Washington picks up his first. And Brandon, who is in his brief career here at Santa Clara, has made a habit out of having scintillating second halves, is off to a great start here.
He just does everything for this team, AP, getting the steal, an acrobatic finish, and the chance for a three-point play.
Pajimski leading the Broncos at just about every offensive statistical category, and even a couple of defensive ones as well. Converts the three-point play, and the Broncos lead it 41-36. Now we'll see what kind of defense Santa Clara can bring to the Aggies here. And so far in this game, every time Santa Clara's tried to pull away, the Aggies have turned it around. There's a tip and a steal. Brenton Napper going right at Pinson. Oh, no! He did not flush it! My goodness! A right-handed stuff from 6-foot redshirt freshman Brenton Napper. And the Aggies get a timeout. We will take a break and try and recover. 17:09 left to go here in the second half. Broncos with their largest lead of the game, 43-36. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Exclamation point on the steal from Brenton Napper, on in relief of Carlos Stewart, the starting point guard, who's on the bench with 4 fouls. And Brenton Napper went from me thinking, oh, he'll try and lay it in, to a one-handed jam to put the exclamation point on a 10-0 run. Broncos lead it 43-36, 7-point advantage, and New Mexico State coming out of the timeout. Pinson working against Napper, working his way to the free throw line, and we're going to have a holding foul on Brenton Napper when it looked like, and I know Herb Sendick asking Ron Brokenborough for an offensive foul, as Pinson, who has some basketball playing experience, Missouri 3 seasons, 88 games, LSU last year where he was the point guard. And we have an offensive foul on Pinson.
I think the refs missed the first one, but they got the second one.
You always wonder, don't you? You always wonder how that works. Pinson's going to come out of the game, so clearly, well, at least it looks like from our vantage point, Craig Heyer would like to calm his point guard down a little bit. So Kyle Feit is back into the game, a sharpshooter, as the Broncos have the basketball. Keyshawn Justice fires and misses. Feit the weak side rebound. Feit turns and heads up the floor, finds Washington in between the circles, working around a screen from his big man and puts it on the rim, misses the shot. It was Odunewu who had checked into the game. And now down low into Bediako. Jump hook misses off the front iron, and Fight has another rebound.
Unfortunate there for Jaden. He made a great defensive play the time before and just unable to convert his jump hook.
Fight, top side. Gordon fires a three, misses. Long rebound to Washington, and he'll finger roll. Well, no, around the rim and off. Parker Brown clears the rebound. And how about the start to this second half for the Aggies? They are 0 for 9 from the floor. And a 7-point Bronco lead here. Plenty of basketball to play as Pajimski fires, misses off the back iron. It's tipped by Washington. This one will go out of bounds. Last touch by the Aggies. And we will keep it here, as there is a timeout on the floor, but since we've already taken our first timeout, we get a chance to keep it here. Broncos 43 and New Mexico State University 36. So tell me about what Our score is 43-36 Santa Clara. The Broncos have scored the first 10 points of the second half. And Anthony Passarelli and Henry Caruso here. It'll be Brenton Napper to inbound, baseline in the Bronco front court. Only 4 minutes plus going by here in the second half, but Santa Clara has come out blazing. As Brenton Napper looking to inbound, feeds Keyshawn Justice on the sideline. He'll throw out near the logo to Brandon Pajimski. DeShondre Washington watches as Brandon goes right by three different Aggies, leaves it high off the glass but short. Cross court to Dr. Bradley. Tries to throw it past cross court as he got into the paint. It's intercepted by Santa Clara's Brenton Napper. So now the Broncos turning over the Aggies. Low left block. Out top, now it's Justice, right sideline corner three. Brenton Napper can't get it to go, gets his own rebound, and he's grabbed on the arm by Dr. Bradley on his way to the basket. That should be 2 free throws for Napper.
It will be 2 free throws, and great job by Brent Napper staying with it, and really good composure by the Bronco bigs. You see Jaden there accepting the double team, and once they kick it out, they swing that ball around the horn and able to create an open three for Brenton.
Brenton Napper, the redshirt freshman, came in averaging 15 minutes per game, but should get a lot more than that in this one. Made 5 of his first 6 free throws until that miss. Bradley comes out, Pinson is checked back in. One more coming from Napper. Sends it toward the rim and knocks it through. So Brenton Napper for Santa Clara with 5 points. His career high is 7. Santa Clara leads by 8, their largest lead so far here this evening. 44-36 is the score. Pinson gets a screen from Undunewu. Pinson to the right elbow, forces one up on the rim, misses the shot, tipped by Bediako, and swooping in to grab it is Keyshawn Justice in the corner. Napper defended by Fight right in front of the Bronco bench to our right. Quick touch from Jaden Bediako, back out to Napper, and that's a 3-ball. Napper having a strong second half. 8 points for him. That's a new single game best. And the Broncos lead at 47-36. This is a 14-0 run to start the second half for SCU. Wide open look from Gordon. Steps in, fires, leaves it short. Tipped by tipped by Parker Brown. And here comes Keyshawn Justice. Lost the handle on it. Ball is loose. Scramble forward at midcourt. 4 different bodies on it. And we will have a tied ball possession to Santa Clara.
Great hustle right there. The entire Bronco bench on their feet, cheering on Keyshawn Justice, laying his body out on the line for his team.
Well, and for those of you who didn't get a chance to see Henry Caruso play at Sarah High School, Princeton, or here at Santa Clara, and the grin that Henry was sporting when all the bodies start diving on the floor, you get a sense for how Henry played, because that was players in need of a basketball, and they all went for it, putting their bodies in peril to try and help the team. Bronco ball, Parker Brown handing off to Justice outside the arc. Napper comes to take it from him. Bediako sets the screen. There's a slap on the wrist that we could all hear but not called. On the right sideline, Parker Brown throwing out top to Napper. 6 on the timer. He's at 30 feet. He wants to fire an NBA 3, and that one's off the back iron. Had that one gone, the house would have come down. 11-point Bronco lead. Washington now to Beck, who hands back off to Washington. Beck sets a screen, fighting through it. Keyshawn Justice, Napper against Pinson. Now it's Washington, a left wing triple. That one is good. And that ends the run for Santa Clara. 14 straight points.
Yeah, unfortunate break there for the Broncos. Justice just got caught helping a little too much.
47-39, and the Broncos come up short there. Now at the other end of the floor, and it'll be an offensive foul as Brent Napper set up camp. And I think it was Gordon who penetrated, dished off, but his momentum carried him right through Brent Napper, who was just outside the restricted area. And there's the foul. Gordon has picked up his second.
Great anticipation there by Napper, seeing an out-of-control Aggie down the lane and stepping in, taking the charge, firing up this Bronco bench.
Bronco basketball, the lead is 8. Justice looking for Parker Brown, feeding the block but extended. He's doubled. Throws out to Keyshawn Justice, who has to run it down in the backcourt, and that'll be another turnover for Santa Clara, their 14th of the game.
Just unfortunate. We've seen the Broncos do a great job handling the post double teams, and other times just not on the same page, and that was an instance.
Well, and you talked about it right out of the opening tip. That was something that Craig Heyer wanted to do, was double the post and force the post to pass out of it. And when you're not a good passer, or one that hasn't developed into a good passer yet, it could be a problem. Washington driving. Keyshawn Justice will bump him. Keyshawn picks up the foul. That's his fourth team foul. And Kozi Akametu, the true freshman, will check into the game for Santa Clara, and Keyshawn will come out. So this lineup for Santa Clara and Herb Sendick, it's Akametu, Napper, Bediako, Brown, and Pajimski. Jacob Holt quickly to the scorer's table. He'll come in for Bediako. So this is a lineup that doesn't play together a lot. We'll see how they do here. 7:08 gone by here in the second half. Broncos have outscored the Aggies 14-3 in the second half. Washington behind the back with the dribble, working against Akametu, trying to penetrate. Kicks out to Pinson. His 3-ball is good. And that was NBA range for Xavier Pinson. 47-42. Pajimski working against Gordon, reaching in from behind. Gordon commits the foul. Gordon's third, and with 12:25 to play, the 5th team foul on the Aggies. Not a shooting foul, but the Broncos will inbound cross court in their front court, and Herb Sendick motioning out to the players with the play call here. Broncos need to hurry. The count is 3. Brown picks it up, looking, finding Akametu. They just get it in. That could have been a disaster for Santa Clara. They've already turned it over 3 times here in the second half. Pajimski knocked to the floor, finding Akametu, 10 to shoot. Now into the low left block. This is Holt. Out to Pajimski. His 3-ball is good!
Just when you thought the Broncos were in trouble, Pajemski knocks it in, extending this Bronco lead up to 8.
50-42. Pajemski converts. There's a floater missed. Pajemski the rebound. Brandon speeding up the center of the floor. Pump fake from 3. Finding Akametu on the left wing. He'll try a 3. Oh, it spins around and comes off. And it's knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Parker Brown. We're at the under 12 media timeout. Broncos lead at 50-42 with 11:48 remaining in this one. Don't go away. We have a good one here at the Levy Center. It's Santa Clara Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Broncos scored the first 14 points out of intermission, trailing by 3 at halftime. They've led by as many as 11 here in the second half, but it'll be New Mexico State basketball. Broncos 50, Aggies 42. Keyshawn Justice 11, Carlos Stewart 13, and Brenton Napper 8. Brandon Pajemski has 12, and Brandon goes to the bench here. So a little bit of a break for the Broncos' leading scorer. And now we'll see how they do defensively here with Pinson angling the dribble to the left side, picked up by Keyshawn Justice. Beck goes to set a screen, driving to the basket, Pinson. The shot is missed. Napper had his hands on it, but lost it out of bounds. They'll bump the shot clock up to 20. Herb Sedek saying, wait a second, my guy was knocked down. That should have been a foul. But he will not get the call. And it comes to Dr. Bradley. Akametu defending Washington on the sideline right in front of the New Mexico State bench. And Akametu called for a foul as Washington, the junior with some experience, got the freshman in the air. And Akametu will pick up his second foul.
That's something that I think we're going to see a lot this second half as the game goes on. New Mexico State trying to get to the free throw line, draw Santa Clara into committing fouls. Broncos are going to have to do a good job staying disciplined and defending without fouling and really showing their hands on the defensive end.
First free throw is good. Pajemski back in. Washington now with 15 points. His first free throw attempt last year with Northwest Florida State, JUCO national champs. Washington 12 points, 9 rebounds for then head coach Craig Heyer. Misses the second free throw. Pajemski has the rebound. Bronco lead is 7. Carlos Stewart remains on the bench, starting point guard with 4 fouls. Jacob Holt dribbling up top, finding Pajemski on the wing, looking to go baseline. Lost the handle briefly, but picks it back up. Cross court to Keyshawn Justice. Shot clock at 10, 11:03 remaining second half. Broncos up by 7. Holt throwing out top. Key catch and shoot. The 3 ball. Back iron missed. Holt tips it, and we will have a foul right here. Front court, Aggie foul on Beck.
Good job by Jacob Holt keeping that possession alive.
It's the offensive rebounds and possessions like that give you a second life and can lead to a bucket. Santa Clara has done that so many times in their 7 victories this year. A good rebounding team. Stripped. Parker Brown has it taken away. Pinson up the right sideline. Bounces behind him to Washington. The 3 from Pinson is missed. Bradley goes right over Brenton Napper to grab it and lays it in.
Broncos just weren't able to match up there in transition. Even though they were able to defend the 3, they weren't able to corral the rebound.
And at one time, an 11-point second-half lead for the Broncos is down to 5 at 50-45. SCU as we approach the midway point here in the second half. Napper has it poked away from behind, picked up by Bradley, ahead to Pinson. He'll lay it in at the other end. The Broncos have turned it over 17 times, and now the Aggies are within 3 at 50-47, and Herb Sendick calls a timeout, a 30-second timeout. So a fantastic stretch to start, but that's not when you stop playing. The Broncos 14 straight to start the second half, and now they've been held off the scoreboard the last 2 minutes.
And we've seen that from the Broncos at times this year. They've done a great job creating leads and being able to make that second half push. It's just closing out games, and that's a tough thing to do with a younger team like the Broncos have right now. But like Coach Sendick always says, the month of November, the month of December, opportunities to learn and grow and be in these live game environments.
11 out of the last 14 points scored by New Mexico State, and still only shooting 4 of 18 in the second half, while the Broncos have cooled off quite considerably. 6 of 16 in the second half and 3 of 11 from three-point range. So this without Carlos Stewart. It'll be Parker Brown to inbound. Keyshawn Justice throwing to Brenton Napper. And now we've got a half-court, what looks to be almost a half-court trap.
Yeah, 1-3-1, I think, here.
1-3-1 zone. Justice to Napper. Pajemski on the left sideline. Keyshawn to the free throw line. To the left elbow. He's tripped by Fight. And that's the 7th team foul, which means with 9:51 to play in the second half, the Broncos should be at the line.
We'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way.
Fights first. Let's double check. Yeah, Fight picks up the foul. Justice 1-and-1 opportunity. Makes the first. That's 13 for Key in his 121st career game. Approaching 1,300 points. 1,285. Misses the second one. Santa Clara's lead is 4 at 51-47, and this is going to be a battle the rest of the way. Over 9 minutes of basketball, and that's just regulation. Pinson working the dribble right sideline. Broncos double. There goes a lob inside, and it's caught after a brief tip from Parker Brown and jammed home by Dr. Bradley.
Unfortunate. Parker almost had that steal and was going the other way for 2.
51-49. Broncos lead by 2. Bediako, Pajemski. Pajemski working against 2 different Aggies all the way out near midcourt. Keyshawn Justice, Bediako. Bediako holding back to Key. Shot clock at 10. Key backing it up near midcourt. Now he wants to go. Keyshawn is fouled with a push. And Craig Heyer, the head coach for New Mexico State, is not mad at the call. He's mad at his players for not keeping their hands in the air and instead using them to keep the defender in front of them. That's a hold.
Absolutely. They did a good job defending for 25 seconds, but good composure by Key and a chance to extend this Bronco lead here.
Foul on Fight as Keyshawn Justice knocks the first free throw. Fight came all the way over and almost boxed out Keyshawn at the free throw line. A little bit of gamesmanship there from Fight, who now goes to the bench. And we'll hear a little bit from his head coach, Craig Heyer. 52-49 Broncos by 3. Justice another free throw opportunity. It's in the air. Misses. Bediako the rebound. Bediako one bounce to Key. There's Pajemski. Fires a straight-on triple. That one hits the side iron and comes down out of bounds. And that will be New Mexico State basketball. 52-49. Couple of teams who like to get up and down. They have done it in this one. 8:52 clock rolling. Pinson, the transfer from LSU, handling the ball on the point out near the logo. The Broncos switch the defensive assignment. Keyshawn Justice staying with Pinson, keeping the ball down low, trying to spin into traffic. The ball is loose. Grabbed by Pajimski. Pajimski looking, grabbed by Bediako. After Pajimski found him, a triple from Key, and it's 3.
Talk about confidence from the redshirt senior, stepping it up, knocking it down.
55-49, Justice leading the way with 16 points. Washington trying to go baseline on Napper, who cuts him off. Turning a jump hook is missed. Pajimski had it, was going to go out of bounds, so he left the ball inside, then reestablished, picked it up, and gets credit for the rebound. Napper in the right wing corner. Now it's Brown catch and shoot triple. That one is missed. Pajimski couldn't corral the rebound. And as we are under 8 minutes to play, it's Pinson. Picks up the dribble, in trouble, throws in the corner to Beck. Behind the back with the dribble. Back to Washington, his three-pointer. That one is missed. Excellent job by Brenton Napper to seal his defender, and he grabs the rebound. Keyshawn, Parker Brown down the lane. And Parker Brown throws another one down. Timeout, Aggies.
Parker Brown with the exclamation.
4 points for Parker, and that earns a timeout, and we will take a break. Santa Clara has pushed the advantage back up to 8 with 7:33 to play in the second half. Broncos 57, Aggies 49. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner. Broncos are continuing the momentum after New Mexico State pulled to within 3, I believe, here in the second half at 52-49. Broncos have scored the last 5. Anthony Passarelli, Henry Caruso, 8-point Bronco lead, 7:33 to play second half. And Carlos Stewart with 4 fouls is back onto the floor. Brenton Napper did extremely well for a redshirt freshman in a tough situation.
Absolutely. He was a spark plug off the bench tonight, and he's played great. He had a moment. He rose to the occasion, and I'll be surprised if we don't see him back in this game to finish it off, too.
Yeah, plenty of time left. This is far, far, far from over, as the Broncos have an 8-point advantage. Clock ticks south of 7:30 as Pinson walks the dribble past midcourt. Engel dribble to the right side, playing catch with Bradley on the post. Odunenwu finding Pinson, 3-ball in the air. That one takes a lap around and goes down. Just a soft shot from the former LSU point guard, and it's 57-52 SCU. Carlos Stewart on the right sideline. Pinson snuggling up close, trying to knock the ball out of his hands. Carlos getting in deep, pushes one up with the right hand. It's missed, and the baseline as Kwaye Gordon saved that ball from going out of bounds by throwing it off of Jaden Bediako. Bradley to the bench. And so it's New Mexico State. Whoop, not quite. We've got an issue here. Shot clock is 29. 6:55 on the game clock. Fans here inside the Levy Center. Quiet right now as here comes Pinson looking over at his head coach Heyer for the play call. And now picked up by Pajimski at the logo. Rocking that dribble between his legs. Chest pass on the left sideline. Picked up by Gordon. Now it's Washington with Parker Brown giving him a lot of space. Odunewu sets the screen. Washington downhill. Washington in trouble. Washington into traffic. Washington lost the handle. Gordon fires a three. It's good.
Unfortunate break there for the Broncos. Played great defense for 24 seconds. Just weren't able to close it out.
57-55, and the ball is knocked out of bounds by Kwaye Gordon. So once again, the Aggies take the Broncos punch and return it as well. Bediako holding, hands it off to Carlos Stewart. A lot of basketball to play here. Stewart looking. Stewart handing off to Keyshawn Justice with Fight defending him. Out at 30 feet, between the legs with the dribble. Finding Parker Brown. Brown wanting to hand off to Pajimski, but has his pocket picked by Gordon.
17 turnover for the Broncos here tonight, AP.
You don't win many games with this many turnovers as Pinson's jumper left way short and picked up by Parker Brown. Justice front court, Pajimski in the corner. Brandon tries an entry pass into Bediako, but has it swiped out of bounds by Pinson. And the two talking a little bit over on that far sideline as it's Bronco basketball up 57-55. And that first to 70 might actually be the winner of this game.
Absolutely. Big possession here for the Broncos. Haven't been able to get in a good rhythm and flow on the offensive end. If we can hold on to that pressure and create a good opportunity, it's something we really need right now.
Aggies have scored the last 6 points. And it comes for Bediako. Odunewu out to defend him on the left sideline. Pops out all the way out top the pass to Carlos Stewart with Gordon defending him. He'll throw to near midcourt where it's grabbed by Justice. 8 on the timer. Justice uses the screen, throws to the corner. Pajimski catches. Pajimski with 2 on the timer. Jab step, fires a 3. It's off the backboard, the iron, and no good. So a chance for the Aggies down 2 to take the lead with a 3. Washington working against Brown, wanting to go baseline, whips a pass, cross court, open look for Gordon, left it way short. Carlos Stewart has the rebound, saves it out of bounds to Pajimski. Bronco ball, 5 minutes to play here in regulation. Carlos Stewart to the elbow. Carlos Stewart lays it in, and he's fouled.
Great job by Carlos Stewart, meeting the defender right in the air, finishing through contact, and another chance for Los to continue his brilliant night.
Odunewu picks up the foul. That is his first. Carlos Stewart gets a chance to go to the line here because he was fouled in the act of shooting. Odunewu to the bench, back in, and Carlos Stewart not playing like a player with 4 fouls. And Los misses the free throw. 59-55 Santa Clara. Washington going right at the teeth of the Bronco defense, now slowing it up, looking to get into the paint, stops, in trouble, forces one off the glass, and a foul is called on Parker Brown.
I didn't see that one, AP.
2 shots coming now for the Aggies as Parker Brown has just picked up his 3rd. I didn't see it, but we don't have the best vantage point. We are court level at the other end of the floor and oftentimes have to look through a myriad of bodies just to see how the play concludes. Washington misses the first. And if this New Mexico State has an Achilles heel, it's the free throw line. 64% coming in on the season. And they are 1 for 5 for the game. 1 of 2 there for Washington. He has 16 points, 2 shy of his single game best. 59-56, Bronco advantage, 4:40 to play. Brown playing catch with Justice. Keyshawn to the left elbow, picked up by Washington. Bediako trying to post Beck down low. Key can't find him. Now it's Keyshawn using the Bediako screen, rises from 16, and he buries it.
Really good patience right there by Keyshawn, using the Bediako screen, getting to the foul line, rising and firing and knocking it down.
61-56, 18 points for Keyshawn, leading all scorers in this one. Washington finding Fight, catch and shoot three. That one is good. Fight with 9. Last year at Indian River State College, 112 threes for Fight, led all of junior college basketball. Down into the block it goes. Bediako trying to spin. Bediako in trouble. Bediako looking, finding Pajemski, catch and shoot three. That one is no good. And this one will go over the top of the backboard, and we will have a foul here. And it's a New Mexico State foul. Pinson picks up his second, 10th team foul. And the Broncos with a 2-point lead and will be at the line when we come back. Santa Clara 61, New Mexico State 59 with 3:44 left to go in the second half. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
University.
61-59 Santa Clara. 3:44 to play here in the second half. And the Broncos at the line for 2 free throws. It'll be Parker Brown, who was fouled by Xavier Pinson. Pinson picking up his second. It was the 10th team foul, and thus 2 free throws for Parker. Anthony Passarelli, Henry Caruso. Brown at the line. He has not attempted a foul shot in this game, but he has 2 opportunities here with the Broncos leading by 2. And the first free throw is around and out. Parker has had games where he's gone 5 of 6 from the line, and he's had games where he hasn't had that kind of success. Chance to make it a full possession 3-point game. And Parker misses the free throw. Came up short, and now the Aggies with a chance to tie or take the lead with 3:38 and the clock rolling. Pinson calmly dribbling between the legs, shuffles the handoff right side to Fight. Quick touch from Washington. Now it's Kwaye Gordon working against Pajemski. And Fight falls down, and they turn it over. It's Bronco basketball. Pull-up jumper from Carlos Stewart is missed. And Odunewu has the rebound. And what do we have here? They're going to stop play to mop up perspiration as Fight came around the screen to pick up the ball and maybe get into position to launch a 3. And his feet went out from under him, turning it over.
Good job there by Parker Brown. He's guarding basically a guard as New Mexico State's gone with the 4-guard lineup, and Broncos are sticking with their bigs here. And an unusual spot for Parker to be guarding someone chasing off screens, but he did a good job staying with him.
Aggie basketball. New Mexico State last led at 36-35 early in the second half. They led by 3 at halftime. Washington, Parker Brown defends him outside the arc. Bediako giving Odunewu a lot of room. He's not going to try a 3. Instead, it's into the hands of Pinson. Now between the legs and backing it out. Odunewu sets a screen. 3 ball from Pinson is on the rim, and the shot is missed, and it'll be knocked out. Last touched by Well, it looked like it was last touched by the Aggies. And Jimmy Cassis on the far side of the floor points in the direction of Santa Clara with 2:57 to play, and the Broncos leading by 2 points.
Absolutely. I think we're going to get here either a post up from Keyshawn, or if that's not there, we're going to find them off the stagger screen.
Carlos Stewart initiating the offense. Keyshawn Justice bouncing out to the logo. Parker Brown. Now it's a scramble for it. It's Pajimski. Nice drive, and Bediako goes up for the dunk, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Aggies after Parker Brown drove, dished, and a block at the rim by the Aggies, and it should be Bronco basketball with 10 to shoot. Craig Heyer yelling at the other end of the floor how they want to defend this baseline out of bounds. And they do it well as it's knocked out of bounds. And 0.2 of a second, I think, came off the timer, even though the ball never really came in. So Amy Bonner will walk over and see if they can bump that shot clock up to 10. They do. And so it'll be Brandon Pajimski to inbound now. Pajimski with Odunewu, the big forward, defending. Bouncing it into Parker Brown. Handing off. No. Fake the handoff to Pajimski. Now it's Brown with 4 on the timer. Brown backing Odunewu down. Brown a jump hook. Puts it up. Hits the side iron. Pinson the rebound. Here comes Pinson up the center of the floor. The crafty guard handing it off to Washington. Washington to the basket. Initiates contact. And he lays it in. And we are all square at 61. Broncos going to spread it out here. 2:06 clock running. This is a true test for the Broncos here against a very good New Mexico State team. Drive to the basket, and Carlos Stewart will lose it out of bounds. It'll be Santa Clara ball with 12 to shoot, and Santa Clara a scoring drought of 2.5 minutes.
And New Mexico State hasn't given the Broncos any easy looks here.
No open looks, no clear pass to the basket. Pajimski working against Fight in the corner. Pajimski going baseline. Pajimski lays it in as he went right by his defender for 2 points. The Broncos lead by 2.
When the Broncos need a bucket, no better guy to go to than Brandon Pajimski, putting the team on his back here. Broncos 1:38 to go, up 2.
63-61 Santa Clara. Pinson on the switch, defended by Parker Brown. Pinson says clear out. I want to take Parker on myself. Flips to the corner. Gordon back out to Pinson. A 3 in the air. It's missed. Ball is loose. Keyshawn Justice runs it down in the corner. Bronco ball. Now into Carlos Stewart's hands. Carlos walking it back to the center of the floor, just inside of midcourt. 1:06, 1:05 clock rolling. Herb Sendix looked like he showed 4 down for the play. Carlos Stewart with a minute to play. 8 on the timer. Carlos to the elbow. Rises, fires. Back iron, no. Around the rim and off. Now crossing midcourt, Gordon. Pinson, 47-46. Pinson, Washington, pump fake down the lane. Poked away from behind into the hands of Onweyu. Misses the putback in the corner. Fight for 3. He misses it. It's tipped. Pajimski the rebound. Broncos have it with a 2-point lead and 30 seconds remaining. Shot clock, game clock, 4 seconds in between. Carlos Stewart looking up at the clock from midcourt, dribbling. Washington defending. Santa Clara leads by 2. There's only 4 seconds in between. Carlos Stewart now working, and we should have a flop. It should be a flop. A foul was called on Washington. And the Broncos want a flop here, but I think Ron Brokenborough is just going to stick with the foul.
Could have gone either way here. Let's see if they review it. I wonder if they will.
Well, we are right next to the video monitor for a review. Washington hit the deck, so they'll have to take care of the perspiration on the court first, as Carlos Stewart's going to go to the line for 2 shots. And I guess you wouldn't, if you call the foul, you probably wouldn't call a flop. Carlos Stewart with 11.5 seconds left, and the Broncos ahead 63-61. Los is 0 for 1 from the line. And he misses the first. Now he's 0 for 2. 63-61 is the score. Bediako leaves. Broncos with Cozy Akametu on the floor now. And Carlos Stewart really needs this free throw to make it a full 3-point, 1-possession game. Carlos has the basketball. 63-61 Broncos. His free throw is good. Big free throw for Carlos Stewart. He has 16 points and a 30-second timeout called. Aggies with one full. The Broncos with one full. And Herb Sendek gets the 30-second timeout with the Broncos leading at 64-61. 18 for Keyshawn. 16 for Carlos Stewart, 14 for Brandon Pajemski. And despite being 4 players down, the New Mexico State Aggies have fought extremely hard, have led on a couple of occasions, and have just not been able to get over the hump here in the second half. And now the Broncos, with 11.5 seconds left in regulation, will try and finish it off.
Absolutely, and we'll see what Coach Sendek draws up here out of the timeout defensively. It's the final debate. You're up 3. Do you foul? Do you play out the possession? I mean, from my perspective, I think I would prefer to foul. I think Coach will foul, but obviously you don't want to foul someone in the act of shooting.
Right, exactly. They've made 13 threes tonight. New Mexico State has. Washington has 4. Fight has 3. Gordon has 3. And it comes to Gordon in the backcourt. Now to Washington, crosses midcourt. And he calls a timeout with 8.3 seconds left. So now the Aggies can get Fight into the game. They can set up a half-court plan here to go at the Broncos and try and get as open a look from three-point land as they possibly can. And this is now a full timeout, but we'll keep it here, obviously, with 8.3 seconds left.
Smart play by New Mexico State. They are able to advance the ball, and to your point, Anthony, they can now drop a half-court set. It's much more of a challenge to foul in the half court versus the full court where there's a live dribble coming at you. So Broncos need to do a good job contesting without fouling on threes, and if they have an opportunity where a New Mexico State player starts putting his head down, goes to the basket, they can foul him there, potentially having a good chance to win this game.
Well, and they need a 3. New Mexico State does. They're down by 3 with 8.3 seconds left. And as we said, 13 threes tonight in 33 attempts. These two teams have combined for 60 three-point field goal attempts. Broncos have made 9, and as we just said, New Mexico State 13. Broncos still out rebounding, but really it all comes down to this sequence here. Potential still for a foul for Santa Clara after a couple seconds elapse. Send the Aggies to the line?
I think so. Still potential. But even if the Aggies do get the 3 off, controlling the rebound, boxing out, doing the little things.
Washington right at the head of the New Mexico State bench to inbound. Pajemski defending there. Akametu, Napper, Brown, and Justice on the floor. Washington has it. Looking. Throws to Pinson out near midcourt, and Pinson is fouled by Brenton Napper with 7.1 seconds remaining. So Pinson will go to the line. A 1-and-1 opportunity here. And let's see, Jaden Bediako getting ready to come into the game. And he'll come in for Cozy Akametu. And Carlos Stewart will come on here for Brenton Napper. So Pinson at the line. He has yet to attempt a free throw in this game. And on the season, 79%, 15 of 19. A 1-and-1 opportunity. Takes a practice follow-through, sends it toward the rim, and scores it. Pinson with 13, 8 in the second half. 64-62 Santa Clara. One more for Pinson, whose left wrist is heavily taped. Good thing he's a right-handed foul shooter. One dribble, spins the ball backwards, sends it toward the rim, and knocks it down. So he has 14. Broncos will need to inbound in their backcourt, up 64-63 with 7.1 seconds left. Parker Brown can run the baseline to inbound. Brown looking, and it comes to Pajimski in the backcourt with 6. He's fouled now. 5.4 seconds show on the clock, and Brandon Pajimski will go to the other end of the floor for 2 free throws with 5.4 seconds left, and the Broncos up 64-63.
Good job there by Parker, taking his time and waited for Pajimski to break open, and he met it with 2 hands and was strong with the rock, able to get to the line here to extend this Bronco lead.
Pajimski on the game has 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. His first free throw is good. 15. Akametu in for Bediako. It's a 2-point Bronco lead with 5.4 seconds left. Pajimski's second free throw is good as well. 3-point Santa Clara lead. And Herb Sendick is going to take his final timeout here with the Broncos up 3, 66-63. Now, 5.4 seconds left. We have basically the same situation with 3 fewer seconds. The last time Santa Clara watched as New Mexico State advanced the ball to midcourt after inbounding in the backcourt and then calling a timeout. Aggies don't have any more timeouts left, so that's not an option, but Santa Clara can still foul after a couple of seconds elapse and eliminate the fact or the opportunity for the Aggies to tie it with a 3.
Absolutely. New Mexico State won't be able to do that same sequence they did prior. And same as we talked about before for the Broncos, making it tough on the Aggies, not letting them roll the ball the length of the floor, being able to pressure without fouling, and if the Broncos do take a foul, it cannot be in the act of shooting.
It can't be in the act of shooting, and if the Broncos were to foul, it would still just be a 1-and-1 opportunity for a team that has struggled from the line this year. We talked about 64% coming into the game. New Mexico State is 4 of 8 in this game from the line. So it's just a matter of what the situation presents for Santa Clara, who send out Akametu, Justice, Carlos Stewart, Pajimski, and Parker Brown. Keyshawn Justice is following Kyle Fight, the top JUCO three-point shooter in the country last year. And it's a backcourt inbound for Beck. Looking, and it comes to Washington. Washington gets to midcourt. Washington with 2, with 1, forces an off-balance 3, and it's good. And it's a 2-point basket, and that's the end of the game. Initially, we thought it might be a 3, but it is a 2, and the Broncos win it 66-65. And Bronco fans, players, coaches, and you and I, a collective swipe of the brow.
Absolutely, a near disaster for the Broncos, but ultimately able to force 1 extra dribble inside the 3-point line, and Broncos able to win this one by 1 point.
Used a 14-0 start to the second half to retake the lead, and they never relinquished it the rest of the way. Broncos 66, New Mexico State 65, and the Rabbit Office Automation postgame show is coming up right after this. It's Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
KOW.com on our mobile app and the Odyssey app.
A service of Salem Media Group.
On the NASDAQ as SALM. It's now time for the Santa Clara Broncos postgame show, presented by Rabbit Office Automation. Rabbit Office Automation and MRC Smart Technology Solutions team up to provide Bay Area organizations with world-class office technology solutions. Contact them at scu@xerox.com. Once again, the voice of Santa Clara basketball, Anthony Passarelli.
My goodness, back inside the Levy Center, Anthony Passarelli and former Bronco Henry Caruso as Santa Clara survives against New Mexico State 66-65. And I have to apologize, Henry. I might have given some Bronco fans maybe some heart issues, as you or I could not see where Washington's feet were set in front of the New Mexico State bench on what could have been a game-tying three. The shot went down, and we had to wait for Ronald Brokenborough to put up two fingers and show what was essentially a two-point shot and not a three-point shot. As we'll see here, clearly stepped in front. For those of you watching on the WCC network, we have a courtside monitor here, and it was a one-footed, one-handed push shot that went down, but he was about, I would say, a foot inside the three-point line. We could not see that, so I have to apologize, as the Broncos do get the victory on what was a two-point make and not a three. 66-65. Broncos get the win.
Absolutely. From our vantage point, it looked like we were going to overtime, but fortunate for Broncos fans, able to continue this win streak and beating a great opponent tonight in New Mexico State, and really just an awesome game. Loved the way Santa Clara responded in the second half and ultimately took over this game.
Yeah, 36-33 was our halftime score, as the Aggies scored the final 6 points in the first half, went into the locker room, halftime locker room, with a three-point advantage, and then the Broncos came out, and despite two quick fouls for Carlos Stewart, the starting point guard for Santa Clara, who already had two fouls, he went to the bench, and Brenton Napper came on and really did extremely well. I mean, nobody's perfect, but he was outstanding, and it was kind of highlighted by a one-handed dunk on a break, as we get a chance on the Rabbit Office Automation now to choose our Smart Player of the Game, presented by Ticket Smarter. The Smart Player of the Game brought to you by Ticket Smarter, the best place to find tickets to the hottest sports, concerts, and live events near you. Visit ticketsmarter.com or download the app to secure your tickets now, and we'll go ahead and allow you to pick our Ticket Smarter Smart Player of the Game.
I'm going with Brenton Napper tonight. He stepped up when his team needed him most, and he hasn't been playing a lot the last few games. And as a player, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself or get down a little bit, but he was the absolute opposite of that. He brought tonight that intensity off the bench, and when Carlos went out with those two fouls, he stepped up, highlight dunk that brought the house down, and he stepped into his threes, knocking down confidently, getting to the rim, and really just facilitating this offense. And it wasn't a tough game for him on the defensive end. He was in, getting rebounds. He was doing whatever it took for his team to get a win here tonight.
Yeah, the Broncos do get the victory, 66-65. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, as the Rabbit Office Automation postgame show continues, we'll take a look at all the numbers, and maybe we'll have an interview or two coming up as well. Once again, Broncos win at 66-65. Postgame show continues after this break. Bronco basketball from Van Wagner.
You're listening to Santa Clara Broncos basketball on AM 1220 KDOW.
Back inside the Levy Center, Anthony and Henry trying to collect ourselves after the Broncos, in exciting fashion, hold on for a 66-65 win over the New Mexico State Aggies. Let's take a look at the numbers now, as the Broncos outshot the Aggies from the floor 43% to 38%. And it was a 13 three-pointer night for New Mexico State. 13 of 33 for 39%. The Broncos 9 of 27 for 33%. 4 of 8 from the line for New Mexico State. 7 of 14 for the Broncos, way below their 74% average. From a rebounding perspective to the Broncos, 42-34, better than New Mexico State. And the turnovers, 17 turnovers to 12. 17 turnovers for Santa Clara and 12 for New Mexico State. Playing without 4 players, Craig Heyer's bunch was led by 20 points from DeShondre Washington, 7 of 16 floor, a team-high 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in 39 minutes. 14 for Pinson to go with 7 assists, 11 for Gordon, and those were the 3 in double figures for New Mexico State. For Santa Clara, 18 for Keyshawn Justice, 16 for Brandon Pajimski, 16 for Carlos Stewart, and 8 points for Brenton Napper. And we are being joined now by Keyshawn Justice. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
How is your heart doing? Because mine's not so great.
Hey, sorry to do that to you, man. Sorry to do that to you. Hey, but at least we got the win. So.
Yeah, so, Carlos Stewart, it's not something you can practice when a player picks up a number of fouls. 2 fouls in the first half. He only played 11 minutes. Quick 2 fouls in the second half when the Broncos made their run. How was this team able to survive that and come away with a victory?
Man, we got guys that can step up. BK, for example, man, he played huge for us tonight. But we expect that. Me being a veteran, I understand that a lot of guys have to be ready to go. And for situations like that, Carlos getting in foul trouble early in the second half, guys going to have to step up and play. And we got some big minutes from our guys off the bench, which was huge for us to get the win today.
What kinds of problems does a New Mexico State, as athletic as they are, what kinds of problems do they pose for you on the offensive end?
Yeah, I want to give credit to those guys because they were down a few guys, a couple starters, I think, tonight. And, they played super hard today. We knew that, coming in, they were a great team. I know they won a lot of games last year, tournament team. So those guys are, those guys are going to win a lot of games this year. So, just coming out with this close one was huge for us. But like you said, they're super athletic, and we knew that was going to be a challenge coming into the game. But, we just lay down, play some defense, and come out the W.
I want to ask you about the Brenton Napper dunk in a second. But first, the 14-0 run to start the second half. After New Mexico State scored the final 6 points, and all of a sudden Broncos were playing well in the first half, and then you look up and you're behind. What was the key to that 14-0 run for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of our energy coming out of the second half. We wanted to set the tone. We're here at home. We don't want to lose any at home. So, we wanted to come out of the locker room, energized, play hard, and, the stops came early in the half, which let us get that lead. But we knew they're a good team. They're going to fight back like they did and made it a close game at the end.
Well, you finished with, let's see here, 18 points, a team high, 4 3-pointers in 37 minutes. My guess is either there's a cold tub in your future or something like that. Final question, the Brenton Napper dunk. I didn't see it coming. You see him in practice all the time.
Oh, man.
Did you see it coming?
Oh, yeah. I'm watching it from half court. I don't know if you guys got a clip or anything, but, we all knew that he can fly. He's one of our high flyers on the team. So I'm happy he got an opportunity to do it, showcase it, and that was huge momentum boost for us.
Keyshawn Justice on the postgame show. Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's Keyshawn Justice, and we'll hand the headset over to Bronco head coach Herb Sendick after this Broncos 66-65 victory. Coach Sendick will sit down, and we'll have a little discussion about this one once he gets the headset on. First the glasses, but Santa Clara led by 18 from Keyshawn Justice. You just heard from him. 16 each for Brandon Pajimski and Carlos Stewart. And then Brenton Napper off the bench, 8 points, 4 rebounds in 20 minutes. And, you're standing on the court there. There we go. You got me okay, Coach?
I sure do.
All right. Well, the Broncos get the victory 66-65. Just what are your general thoughts on this one? It was an athletic New Mexico State team. You and I talked about that in our interview earlier in the week, but there was nothing easy about this game. What are your thoughts looking back?
Well, winning is hard, and there was no expectation that anything would be easy. Our guys continue to show great resiliency and grit in finding ways to win, different players stepping up. I thought this evening Brenton Napper gave us a huge lift off the bench. We had to weather foul trouble in both halves. Carlos Stewart had to set a significant part of the game, as did Jaden Bediako. Parker Brown picked up his. second foul in the first half, and so we preserved him as well. So we navigated some serious foul trouble, and still were resilient enough to find a way to come away with the win, Anthony.
That's the exact same word that Keyshawn Justice just used to describe the 14-0 run to start the second half, was resiliency. During that run, what was working?
Our defense. You know, our defense set the tone, as it usually does when you go on a run like that.
And then the final couple of sequences, the Broncos, you practice this. This isn't something that's brand new to these guys when they're out there. You practice baseline out of bounds. You practice inbounding in the backcourt and defending. What was the key to success there in order to make things very difficult for New Mexico State?
Well, with about 11 seconds, I think it was, we elected to foul rather than let them get a 3 off. They made both free throws, fortunately. And then we were going to do it again, but just didn't have a good opportunity to do so. So it was really a good decision by Brandon to not foul, and it worked out in the end, those final 2 defensive possessions.
Well, the Broncos come away with a win, 66-65. Coach, always appreciate you coming to stop by on the postgame show. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, well, the Broncos get the win, 66-65. And with that victory, improved to 8-2 overall and run the win streak to 5. That's right. I had to do my math there. With the loss, New Mexico State drops to 4-3, and this will tee it up for Santa Clara's next game. And our next broadcast will be Saturday, the rivalry game against the crosstown rival San Jose State Spartans, right here at the Levy Center. That will be at 2 o'clock, and we invite you to join us on the WCC Network, on the TuneIn Radio Premium Santa Clara Bronco channel, and on AM 1220 KDOW. Robert and the WCC Network, thank you for the broadcast and everyone working a camera for this one. We also want to thank Isha back at the AM 1220 KDOW studios. I want to thank my partner, Henry Caruso, as once again, the final score, Santa Clara with 18 points from Keyshawn Justice, get the victory over New Mexico State, 66-65. Anthony Passarelli saying so long until Saturday.